Welcome back to In the Oven with Brad and Adam.
What's up, y'all?
This is a fly by the seat of our pants podcast episode.
Yeah, a little busy. You
Yeah.
just got back and we got a slam week, so.
Yeah, so just got back from Disney. Aubrey and I spent like the whole week in Disney with Letty. It was the first time that usually for some reason, I feel like we've only done like 3 days or maybe 4 days, but for some reason we've always had to like try to get 2 parks in one day. Mm-hmm. And this is the first time that we like every park had its own day. So there was a few rides that I rode for the first time ever.
Oh, cool. Which ones?
That Astro Orbiter in Magic Kingdom, which is like right near like the Buzz Lightyear and everything. And you have to go up the elevators to get on it. And it's just like, it's kind of like one of those rides that just goes up and down, but
Okay.
you're like castle level.
Oh,
you're
hell
super
yeah.
high
Sweet,
up there.
sweet.
So you can see a lot of stuff. And then I told you about Animal Kingdom going to the Rafiki's Island, the petting zoo area. I'd never done that before.
Did you get to pet a baboon?
No, there was pigs and goats. And
Always goats.
a cow.
Oh, that's cool.
There's some sheep, but I didn't pet. Those were like not really walking up to people, you know. So,
Bah.
I mean, obviously Letty loved that. But yeah, that was pretty much the gist of a lot of the rides because most of the stuff I've already ridden before. But
Yeah. They got a bunch of new rides at MGM, right?
MGM has the whole Toy Story Land.
Yeah.
So they have the Toy Story Mania.
Or Hollywood Studios now, right? Or whatever.
Hollywood Studios has the new Star Wars rides.
Okay.
And then my favorite roller coaster of all time is at Epcot, and it's the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster.
I haven't ridden that.
Yeah, it's
I
wild.
like the soaring ride.
Oh, yeah, soaring.
That's cool.
Yeah. They it's soaring over California right now or something, or over the U.S. because it was all like it used to
all
be
around
like,
the world or whatever.
No, it's not now. It's just like all U.S. stuff. So international tensions, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride would be like if you combined. Have you ridden the Avatar ride?
I love that one.
The Avatar ride.
Yeah.
Combine the Avatar ride with Space Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah. So like there's screens to like watch, but
Yeah.
you're also on a roller coaster.
Yeah, man. Space Mountain, I love that. Growing up, my
Yeah.
mom would take me down there, and I love that. It's dark and everything. When I rode it with the kids the first time I'd been down there, my hands up and everything, I'm like, oh, it just seems like you're so close to the railing and everything. I'm sure.
No, speaking of
but
that,
still.
I actually saw that they put this insert into the carts, and it's essentially like these cutouts that like span
Prevent you from.
Yeah, and they test the ride to make sure no one can actually hit anything.
Because I was like, man, I don't know that I can't not hit it. You're going so fast. I don't want to try.
Apparently, like one time a year, there's a day they leave the lights on in Space Mountain. Like it's a thing that like people know about, okay. Today the lights are going to be on in there. And my friend said when he wrote he's like, it is terrifying.
I bet.
He's like, he's like, you realize how crammed in everything is.
Like a mousetrap, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But the Guardians of the Galaxy ride it's crazy. It's the seats like swivel left and right. Like the whole car like will move left and right as you're going through the ride and stuff.
Okay.
So you like if there's a screen on the wall, everyone will turn and face the screen as you're going around.
Okay.
It.
Spider-Man is sort of like that, I guess, or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's at
Imagineers.
That's at Universal, right? Yeah. Yeah. I feel like if you like for us, we've always had season passes for Disney, so we're like, well, I'm not gonna spend money to go to Universal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sure.
So,
but it's a blast.
Yeah. Oh, I love. Yeah, the roller coasters at Universal are
intense. Even Busch Gardens is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I get a chance to go down there.
We did Busch Gardens. In Tampa.
Yeah.
Aubrey and I did that.
We went last year. Took the kids down to Legoland again. And
Liam
loves Legoland. So
yeah,
it's a good time.
But so that again, Guardians of the Galaxy my favorite ride. Love that ride. So did that. Weather was great the whole time. Got to spend time with my family. My mom found this like really cool Airbnb house that had like a game room in it.
Yeah, it's up on YouTube. Y'all check it out. The house is super dope.
Yeah. The game room was Letty's favorite thing. Like every day she was just like go play in the game room while we like make breakfast and stuff.
Yeah,
so
sure.
nice.
That's what our kids did. We always get the house with the game room and the thing, whatever. So, cool.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. But back now, trying to get back into the swing of everything. A lot happened while we were gone. Yeah, I really do. I feel like I'm definitely getting beat up this week.
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel
a little bit.
I think the hardest part is there's so much excitement and anticipation over things happening in the future.
Yes.
But right now we have to get to the future, and it feels like there's just walls and hurdles.
Quicksand. It feels like quicksand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it gets a little quicker every time we get a little further, whatever makes quicksand, faster sinking, if you will. But yeah, I mean, you're damn right. Several things we could talk about, several things we can't. Just a lot of moving parts. We've got a lot of big partnerships with a lot of big players, national players, a couple international players. And some of them aren't making it easy for us. Some of them are very helpful, but yeah.
Well, I mean, good news. We did launch with Cold Stone last week.
We did.
I haven't really gotten any numbers or metrics back from Christian, like how that's going yet.
Not yet. I mean, they're happy. So we're doing a pilot. We told y'all we're doing a pilot with Cold Stone. So it's we're starting with 10 stores. It's a franchisee that we have an in with, and then a couple of corporate stores. If we're able to prove concept in their stores, then we will be able to incrementally roll out with a national program throughout all of their stores. So that's super exciting.
For sure.
But again, we got to get there.
Right. Yeah. And then next week, you and I are going up to test out a piece of equipment that would create a new product for Fat and Weird.
Right. That's right.
And we're logistically going to have to figure out how we get dough up there or ingredients up there. They said we could mix on site.
Yeah.
So we may be better to ship.
I think we just ship it raw.
Everything and then mix it.
Yep. Put our
there.
maker's hats on.
So remind me to talk to
no joke.
Blake whenever we get
so what he's talking about is we've teased this a couple of times, but we've got a new product that we're still in R&D stages. We've worked out graphics somewhat. We've worked out some different processes, but this new piece of machinery allows us to make these at scale, right? So we talk to you guys about that all the time, but what we're balancing right now is proving that we can do something in the short term where all these stores want to test it. So they don't want a little bit, but they want to know that you can handle the volume on the back end. So we have to get all this equipment, all these people, all these resources, all this distribution network set up to wait. We have to get it to send them like nothing amounts of trial products because we built this monster.
Right.
So now it's like, yeah, all right. You want 10,000 cookies? I'm gonna need y'all to get more.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest part is that, this whole time we've been able to handle everything in house. We are talking to a co-packer now, but we don't have the volume for the co-packer yet because everyone just kind of wants a little bit to see how it's going. And obviously, people like DoorDash and DashMart have been very reassuring on it because they've literally are like 10x their business with us.
That's right.
But it's just, one of those things where you're like, okay.
Clock's ticking.
Yeah.
Well, and again, some of these folks, these national companies, a lot of them, some of them that we're dealing with these old, they're old guard, if you will, in the retail space. Their timelines, they've been around 100 years that, so a couple months for them ain't no time. Whereas for us, it's like forever.
Time, yeah.
It feels like forever.
Well, yeah, and another hard thing that we're working through right now is, I think we've talked about our Myers order was supposed to be picked up like a month ago. It got pushed because of the holidays, and then it kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And come to find out, the wholesale, frozen buyer for Myers got let go, and there's a new person in that position. So now we're like, okay, well, are they still taking it?
I mean, from a front-facing message, of course, they're telling us, everything's good, but it really seems like they fumbled some kind of handoff, which is costing us money. So, yeah, we're working, we're learning. But, yeah, we have a huge mid-six-figure payment that we're waiting on from one customer that's over a month late.
Yeah. Like literally, we should have had the payment at the latest like 2 weeks ago, and now we're not even on the clock yet for the payment. So that's been difficult. I just like to share that because I think a lot of times, in entrepreneurship, you can see like people's businesses and companies and just think, man, they got it so easy. It's just crushing. There's no issues. But there are issues all the time.
Yeah, if it was easy, everybody would do it. But really, man, it shows you what you're made of, man, because there are times where it is easy and you think, man, why doesn't everybody do it? And then we get hit, like we talked about, first episode, taking punches and moving on through them.
Yeah.
It's just your ability to hang in there, take those punches, keep going. We're going to be successful. I mean, we are successful to some extent. We just know where we want to go. and we want to get there as fast as possible, right? So
Yeah,
that
I think
sucks.
Well, yeah, I think that's
I want to go fast, Daddy.
the entrepreneurship. I just want to move it quicker. I always am like, can I get it done faster? Can I go faster? Can I go faster?
Yeah. Well, and two, man, then, and the hurry up and wait, which, military, both of us had to experience plenty of that, but it's been a while.
Right.
So it's like, hurry, we got to get these samples out the door. And then it's like crickets.
Yeah.
We talked to them like a month later. They're like, oh, it's the best. We love your product. We want to, we'll get you, we'll have a meeting soon. And then they set up a meeting. It's like a month from now.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, so-and-so's going on vacation.
Yeah.
You're like,
I think, we've talked, I guess since last time though, we've been told that we're going to get 120 store rollout with Target in like the Southwest region.
Yep.
I think it's kind of like Colorado,
That'd be a great market
New
for us.
Mexico, that kind of area over there. And so I think it's 120 stores is what Christian had said for that. And then, you still have HEB that's looking to do something at early Q2, which feels like it's right
Here.
around the corner. I can't believe we're already a month through 2024.
what, a couple days.
Like most people aren't even writing 2024. They're still writing 2023 on things, and we're already a month into it.
Yeah, planning for the rest of the year, basically. We're setting up co-manufacturers and everything else. And so,
So
good stuff.
yeah, and then on top of that, we have a big supplier that we order from that's transitioning systems, and they're essentially said their ordering will be completely shut down for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it kind of got mentioned to us that like things may be spotty even after that. They said they expect to be, they're shutting down literally like the middle of March, and they don't expect to be back up and going until Q3.
Yep.
And so
we got to figure out how to store all these extra ingredients. We got to order ahead of time. And we don't have a couple of checks from a couple of big customers to pay for it. So Brad and I are over here juggling, figuring out what we can do.
yeah,
Fun stuff.
I think that's that's kind of what entrepreneurship really is like constantly prioritizing things and then being the problem solver, because everyone will just bring you all the issues that they're having, and then you've got to like kind of solve all the problems. So
Yeah, you're the last line of defense and the only person who can't throw their hands up in the air.
yeah,
You can do that on like an easy day where everybody should just figure it out. You'd save labor and time and everything if you went and helped, but you're just like, I don't have the mental capacity for this. But on days where you absolutely don't have the mental capacity and everybody else can't figure it out, too fucking bad, boy.
yeah,
You suck it up. So that's, we're shooting the podcast. We're over here trying to game plan. We're over here trying to figure out our cash flow, making all the calls in the world and then running back downstairs and helping out and everything else. So.
Well, yeah, and we have a really great food distributor. Benny Keith has been really great, and they're picking up either 6 or 12 pallets.
Yeah, they're helping us out for sure.
Of product. But granted, a lot of them have been are being tried by some. They're selling the products, right? So they're not just holding it.
Yeah, so we've entered into, because I don't know whether we've talked about this on the show or not, but we've entered into a partnership with a food distributor, Benny Keith. We're going to go in with several other ones if this works out for us. And they send their own sales reps into independents, privates, establishments, food service places, and they offer our product to those places. And then using a national distributor allows part of our plan that we've got where if we want to pull the trigger and roll with a national franchise like a Cold Stone, Papa Murphy's, stuff like that, we don't have to ship directly out of here. We can ship to centralized hubs. They can pull from there just like they would everything else in their store, and it makes it real easy. It's too difficult for like individual store levels to deal with the logistics of getting these things. We go into a catalog, make it super simple. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and that obviously is helpful too because we're leveraging like their network people. But most of the products that Benny Keith and stuff are doing is our wholesale bags, and then like our prepackaged cookies, and they're doing them more in like a heat and serve type thing.
Yeah, like a thaw and bake.
Yeah, thaw and bake. There's frozen, already baked, and they just have to thaw them and
heat them up.
Heat them up and give them out.
Yep. So yeah, I mean it's everything from food service places. So some restaurants even locally carry our stuff, but doing the like, they heat it up, throw a scoop of ice cream on there, or possibly add some of their own little jazz to it at the end to make it kind of their own signature. product. But yeah, it's interesting. It's pretty cool seeing our logo everywhere.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch the brand grow. I think I'm really excited, for Cold Stone, just because like cookies and ice cream are like my favorite dessert combo.
Yeah.
So when we went to Cold Stone, we made our own there. I ate that whole bowl of cookies.
Yeah.
And ice cream.
So what? Big Sexy, and then Cold Stone did the collab with Mike's Hot Honey.
Yeah.
Fire, boy. Go to Cold Stone. Get it.
Yeah, it's good.
Get one of our cookies with it though.
Yeah. And so I had a Big Sexy mixed in with Mike's Hot Honey, and then Liam had mint ice cream with Black Beauty mixed in, and it was like this mint chocolate thing. It was really good.
Well, so man, it's so cool because we have so many different flavor options as is. When you add the ability to add an ice cream flavor and then mix it up, you've got the hot cookie with the cold ice cream. You've got our flavors with whatever flavor you might want to mix in there. I don't know what that's called, but we're like, it just expounds the possibilities, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's like we got exponents added to the possibilities.
Yeah, the different varieties.
Because they got stuff you can mix in. I don't know why you would, but you can put whatever the hell you want in there with it.
Right.
So pretty crazy.
Yeah, and that's what they were saying is that, you could mix in.
I also
stuff
didn't realize that they made their ice creams in house.
I did not know that either.
They have a really cool machine. I took a picture of it, but I can't think of what the brand is right now. But they take this powder, they just mix it up with water, and then they pour it in there.
Yeah.
And then they pour it out into the pans.
Right.
That's sick.
Yeah. I always find it, which I'm sure you do too, because of your franchise experience, is just how to make it foolproof for your franchisees.
Well,
and it really is like
that little bag.
Yeah, it's a bag of mix that they pour in with. Is it water or milk?
I think it was water. I didn't see a lot of milk in there.
Yeah.
So it might be lactose-based powders or something.
It has to be because Cold Stone is known for having more butter in their ice cream.
Oh, okay.
Like cream. Their like butter content or fat content is like super
So they probably
high.
do a little more than what I just described, right? But like, that's crazy to get that kind of consistency across the map. So, but that makes sense because you shrink the footprint needed. If you had to store all that ice cream versus like you can just make tomorrow's.
Right.
And that's cool.
And then on top of that, you can like, make whatever you need way quicker than being like, oh shoot, we're out of this. We need to order it. And then when it gets shipped
how
here.
long that thing takes. Still.
To make ice cream?
Yeah, probably not that long.
I think it's a couple hours.
Yeah. Sweet.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you get it cold enough. I mean, cold and mixing paddle.
Yeah, our friends Tony and Lauren that own Detroit Cookie Company, he was like, "Hey, if you want to buy," they were doing ice cream for a while, and he hated it.
Oh, okay.
But he was like, "If you want to buy my ice cream machine, I'll send it to you."
Yeah, wow.
And I've wanted to because like our cookies you can eat raw, so mixing that into ice cream would be really good. And then the new product that we're R&Ding would be phenomenal in ice cream.
Yes, it would.
So yeah, there's all that
fun stuff on the horizon. Now we just need to freaking collect some revenue. Brad and I are going to have to put on our ski masks and get some baseball bats. Go do some collections.
Yeah, I know you're working on trying to sell some things. I got the comments back on the real estate that I'm selling. I'm partnered with my friends Tyler on. We got the first round of comments back, and
that's exciting.
Most of them were no big deal. There's a couple of like more concerning ones. The ones that say like we should have a meeting about this, and you're like, really?
No, we shouldn't.
It's flood zone stuff again. I
know.
No. Anyways, so that, and then there's a couple other things where they literally said like you can only attach 5 units max together, and so
that don't work.
What Sean's like, I can put an inch between each of these, and he's like, what are you going to do?
Is that what y'all want? City of Panama City.
Yeah. So, but because he's like, it doesn't say, it just says they can't be essentially attached. So it's like,
I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't really want to have to get into the nitty gritty with them there. So I'm assuming that we should be able to request a variance or something, but I don't know if that's an option or not. So
time will tell. Hurry up and wait.
Yeah. So that's a whole nother headache that I don't even really want to get too much into.
Yeah, no, so that's okay. So what else we got? Well, we're going up to Jersey. We talked about that. We're going to make some dough. That'll come for some cool content.
Yeah, we'll probably record some of it. Oh, yeah, and Myers is supposed to be picked up this week.
So we got to get over to Port St. Joe, shoot some videos. That'll be cool. That'll be fun.
Right.
It'll be fun starting the clock that gets us paid. You know, we talked about this just to kind of recap. We're on net payments, meaning they will get the product. They get it for them in particular. It's 30 days. But, you know, we have to stomach it. It'll be easier to stomach this one, I guess, because we've already had to tolerate so long. But yeah, this is part of what, you know, doing business at scale looks like is when net 30 comes and they don't pay, then you got to start calling collections and you got to do it tactfully in a way because you're pissed, you're stressed, you're scared you're not going to be able to make payments or payroll or whatever you got to make, but you don't want to lose the customer.
Right.
It was a fine line. I danced it for a long time with U.S. Lawns and everything else, but it's all part of doing business. You know, it's all part of business, but it's just wild because, you know, shit, man, I just pay for things like when I say I will, like I have to.
Right.
I don't know. So,
yeah. So we'll see how it all plays out. Adam just sent me like a funny video about like net terms and stuff, and it's like, you know, we're net 30.
Of course,
like after 30 days, we'll tell you the check is in the mail and like all that stuff. And I mean, that's really kind of how it's been with us and some of the customers that we're dealing with is that, I mean, there's some people that have paid it there on net 30 that paid me like 90 days later.
Yeah. So we're getting tighter. I mean, we're getting our, you know, you don't know what you don't know. Some of it is a little bit of calculated risk. We're doing deals with people that can and will pay us, but they're such large organizations that sometimes I truthfully think they do this shit on purpose, but they're so big that they're like, oh, well, I buy the things, but I don't pay for the things. You have to talk to this other department or whatever else. And the volume, man, and the numbers and the scale. So it's like we know where we want to get to. We know how big we're growing this thing. Yo, we're talking contracts north of, I mean, we're staring down $1 million plus contract deals with individual customers. Some of these much, much higher. And so,
yeah, I think that's the part that like is a little bit of like mind blowing for me is that like, yeah, we do have an order coming in from the Hershey Park location, and that order alone is going to be more money than we've ever made in our best month by like 50%.
Yes.
For the whole month. And it's just one customer's PO. So if you add in our normal wholesale volume that goes through here and our e-commerce volume that goes through here, it most likely is going to push it to be like over 2 times as high as our best month has ever been.
That's right.
And that's just for their one order.
Yep.
And then same thing with Publix's one order. It's hypothetically going to be like 3 times what our best month ever was.
Yeah. And so these are also compounding, right? So, you know, what Brad's talking about is a lot of, we have a ton of repeat customers. We've got great return customers on the e-com side. So we do get a lot of repeat business, but this is like customers are going, you know, we want 10 to 20,000 cookies a month on, right? So then it's like, oh, so it's 10,000 this month and it's 10,000 next month. But the next month we pick up a customer that wants 10,000. And so then the next month and then.
Right.
So it's all stacking. And those accounts are going great for us so far, especially, you know, like our DoorDash and DashMart partners. But these bigger ones that want 250, 500, 600,000 cookies, possibly monthly, it's like, Brad and I are trying to juggle. So we're talking about, you know, kind of net payments and stuff like that. But if you guys wrap your head around it, if they pick up on, you know, if we produce all these cookies in month 1 to pick up, you know, the beginning of month 2, we've incurred all that cost here.
Right. So like a month before that, we had to order the ingredients,
The
right?
labor.
So, and some of our ingredients are net 30. So like, yeah, we can kind of push some of that, but like some of it is not. It's due right away.
That's right.
So, you know, let's just say that it was going to cost you $100,000 to make an order. You know, you're putting that in, and then
out of the gate, it's already like 30-ish days longer than net 30 for your actual field cost because, you know, we have to order the inventory, receive the inventory, put it away in our right, all the labor, then make the cookies, all the labor involved, then package and store the cookies until the pickup date, all the labor involved, get it out to the trucks, get it shipped, boom, then the clock starts. So you go month 1, costs incurred, month 2, they pick it up. They have that entire month. Well, they're probably ordering again. We'll know that mid-month, then we have to order again that second month. Now, you got to understand, we've incurred the full cost the first month. Second cost, cookies went out, order comes in. Sometimes it's bigger. So then more money than you're even going to get back, they've already put in and sent back out. And so that's just how you scale. And so what has to be really top of mind for everybody doing this is cash flow. Brad's heavy on top of cash flow. We're heavy on top of books and making sure that everything is accounted for to the best of our abilities. There are still one-offs. Stuff's going to break. Things are going to happen. You never know. But like knowing how much to bite off, it's a fine line because like if you don't bite off enough, you don't get anywhere fast enough. And we have invested so heavily into this machine that we have now that like we need these volumes.
Right.
So yeah, just keeping kind of top of mind of cash flow situation. So when you guys think about net 30, when you hear net 30, just in case any of you guys want to blast us in the comments about some of this guy's comments I sent Brad were like, learn how to run a business. Net 30 is like basically net 90 to your felt pockets anyways.
Right.
Now, you run a big enough business, yes, it is net 30, yes, you've just shipped them out, but it's not like we're breaking down. It's not like we order a bunch of peanuts and sell them in smaller bags, y'all. Like it's a lot of work to make these things. So,
yeah, I think that's a lot. You know, I've always said I kind of envy people that like, you know, Hayden that owns Hydro Jug and Max that owns Sour Strips because they want more products. They just call the manufacturer and be like, I need more of this, right? And then it gets shipped here and then they send it off to suppliers or like do whatever. And now, you know, for us, I'm like, man, I wish that I could just be like, hey, man, send me
that's why
this.
we're setting up some of it. So we can do some of that for sure. But yeah, no, that's definitely a sweet gig to be in. Man, it's just kind of the difference of business styles, you know, like on the e-com side or the storefront, hypothetically, I wouldn't call that like a service business, but it's more like a Slim Chickens, like, you know, food, you know, money, boom, all day long. Right. You pay U.S. Lawns to come out, you're paying us pretty much right then. We did the service. So it's easy to get cash flow and it feels easier, nicer, longer usually. A wholesale it's manufacturing, man. It's like we're contract manufacturing. So we've done a good job at being ready to jump into this space, but yeah, it's just a little bit of a different game. We're lucky that we have the e-com background and everything to help us out, but
yeah, and then we're really working on making our facility like the expert at doing baked cookies out of here, and then that way we can leave, you know, frozen dough and the food service and wholesale to some of the co-packing entities that we've talked to because, you know, one, I mean, we built this huge building, so I wouldn't want to like not utilize it, you know? Yeah. So either it's going to be the world's largest R&D kitchen, you know,
that'd be fun
or not. But
yeah, I mean, no, but that allows us kind of to touch on that point, right? So we have developed a way to do what we've done on e-com very well, which is, you know, baked packaged cookies shipped out the door. So us in our bulk program, we call bulk that same program, but a customer's buying 100 big sexies instead of one. You know, instead of a variety, they're buying you know, lots of cookies at one time, put them in a big brown box with that and weird on the side, boom, send it out the door. We do that really well. We need to get better. We need to make some improvements to the facility, but that allows us to get very like surgical with that one type of thing. And then we don't have to, because a big stressor for us or a lot of felt work effort was doing all the proving of concept that we were doing for the past quarter of last year, really, of like, hey, we can make this product. Hey, we can make this product. And we're still going to do that. But as we find a product, I think that, you know, goes gangbusters like it kind of has, we find a surgical partner somewhere else with a, you know, better frozen throughput or whatever. And we have. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, what they say, how many cookies they said they could do per hour? 18,000?
Yeah, 15 to 18,000
cookies per hour that they could put through their freeze tunnel, you know? And so,
we can do that a day if we really get surgical, you know, we really plan. We can do that every day, but not an hour.
Yeah.
So hell yeah.
And so I think that's a lot of the conversation just is about like, okay, how do we do what we do well here and then outsource things that we can outsource.
Yep.
That's interesting.
iPad is ringing.
Yeah. There it is. Okay, now my phone's ringing. I was wondering why my iPad was ringing first, but
all the fun stuff today.
yeah. I guess the iPad's always on loud because Letty's watches her TV shows on there. I joke that Aubrey and I both have iPads, and the majority of it, the use is for the
Letty
kids.
has 2 iPads.
Yeah. It's like when the other one...
She lets you use her iPad.
Well, if one of them is dead, then she gets the other one, you know?
Fun.
But yeah, it's...
Yeah, all my kids get iPads. Best thing ever. There's all kind... I mean, like, yeah, sure, there's mindless entertainment, y'all, but there are some actually really cool, like, educational games.
Yeah, she plays a lot of educational games on here.
They're great.
So.
And if your kids don't know that the non-educational games, if you are lucky enough, they don't learn on their own. So,
yeah,
but if you put just YouTube on there, you put some of those things, they can get into that mindless stuff real fast, just like us adults, man.
Well, let me say this. When I was younger, computers were like oh gosh, don't let your kids spend so much time on the computer. Oh my gosh, don't let them do this. Don't let them do that. And then you look at it now, video games and computers, like there's nothing wrong with it. There's people that still play video games. There's people that play video games for a living. We're all on our computer all day, every day, pretty much. The phone and the tablet are going to be the same way. If your kids learn how to navigate them and they're not just like mindlessly watching something, they're actually learning, then what,
Well, it's cool too, because like Liam's at an age now where, those of you that my son is 10, so somewhere in that like 7+ range, they want to ask you a lot of questions about everything. And a lot of times they just want to talk to you, right? So you don't want to shut them down too much. But a cool thing is, even if I'm working and my son wants to talk to me about it, I'll be like, hey, Google that, man. Let's figure it out. You put in some legwork. I'll help you discern what that means. But you want to set up he was setting up an account for something because he wants to do this like art thing and he didn't know. So like, I sat there with him, but pretty much made him do it, like set up his own little link, Gmail link to my account. So it's like parent thing. And, he's like, do I do this? And, I'm like, well, read it, And so that was cool,
Yeah.
So now he's like, oh, neat. Like I can do this. Another cool thing real quick, it's got the Fortnite thing. And this is kind of funny because the energy, we'll talk about male, female energy. So my son, if you guys have ever seen like a gift card, you know how you have to scratch it? If you go to peel it, you peel the whole damn thing off.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, he knew better, but he peeled it off anyways. It comes down one, right? And so my mom and Kirsty are over there, and I wouldn't let them do it for him. I wouldn't let them fix it for him. And of course, it was like, you're being so mean. Okay. Well, what I had my son do, I said, hey, collect yourself. Everything you need to know is on that card. There's a serial number on the card that's printed on the card, all the how to contact them. Get me to the step where I need to put my info in, and I'll do it for you, right? Well, so I wanted him to do that. He figured it all the way out, already knew what my email and cell phone number was, put that in and was like, good, came down beaming, huge smile. He broke something. He was going about fixing it.
Yeah.
So he came down feeling sad, sorry for himself, feeling like a loser, if you will, I guess, right? And so instead of just going, oh, I don't want my child to feel like a loser with a hug. Yeah. I want to say, hey, we break shit all the time. Here's how you fix it.
Right.
So he came back down, beaming, jumping off the things, and there's nothing wrong. That's what women are supposed to do. They're supposed to go, oh. But as daddy, that's what you're also supposed to do.
Well, a lot of fear and uncertainty and things like that in things you do just come from unfamiliarity. Yeah. I remember the first time I hung a TV on the wall, I was thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm going to rip this wall out. Like,
I thought the TV was going to fall
any
day. And I went into studs and everything. And I don't know.
But it's like now, if someone's like calls me like, hey, I need help hanging a TV, I'm like, all right, I'm on the way. Yep. And I think it comes from experience. And
you got a really long screwdriver or something to grab them little things on the back. You already know they're back there.
But a lot of that, like I was saying, relates down to like you just never done it before. And I think a lot of people nowadays just haven't done a lot of things before. My dad knew how to change a tire when he was like 16, and he, worked on all kinds of stuff, and people just don't do that anymore. Nope. And when you lose that ability, then you can kind of feel helpless in situations.
Well, you go back long enough, man, like our grandparents aged folks or whatever, they had if they wanted something done, they just had to. A lot of times there wasn't anybody to call for things like that.
Well, yeah, Aubrey's dad built their house, like literally built their house.
Well, Sears like used to sell house kits. If y'all didn't know this, we should do something on it. But literally, you pick a plan, they send it to you. Then people just built it themselves.
Yeah, all the lumber and everything.
Everything arrived in big crates and everything else, man, all the way down to like the doorknobs. It just came and had instructions, and you had folks. And these houses are still around because there's plenty of them.
Right.
So it's just it's crazy. We don't do that anymore, and we go, I'm so scared to figure, but it's like, I think schooling has a lot to do with that, but whatever.
It's so wild to me. Well, I think a lot of people are, when you're talking about schooling, I think a lot of people are scared to fail and be humiliated by the failure too. So they don't try. They'll put themselves out there to try it.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Well, because failing's punished. It's punished.
Sure.
It's not about, if you fail or you don't do well at something, it's not even hey, good try. It's you're suck.
A loser.
Yeah. And so I think that whole mindset has caused a lot of people to not try because.
Yeah. But I know, and we do it, and it's easy to do to ourselves. But if you just shift the mindset that if you don't even try, you're a loser. You miss all the shots you don't take.
Right.
Like it'd be like they pass you the basketball. It's the last second of the game, and you just stand there. I didn't want to miss.
Right.
You missed.
Right. Well, yeah. The probability of winning if you don't shoot the ball is 0.
So and we do all of those things, but I think without getting too far off topic, the schooling thing, man, the amount of people I've heard that are like, I want to learn how to do this. I need to go to college. I'm like, you just said the thing to Google that. Just before I need to go to college, just Google that, start clicking and reading.
Yeah.
Do that for a couple of days and you probably know more than most of the world. Already, bang.
Yeah. Didn't they say there's I don't know what the quote is. There's something about like if you read the top book or the top 4 books or something.
Tim Ferriss, top 4 books on any topic, you'll know more than 90% of the world on it.
Yeah.
Don't know how true that is, but I do know that, oh shit, man, read 4 books about baking cookies. Now, you may not know more than my boy Brad, for sure. You may not know more than me. I've been here a while now. I do this every single day. But like, if your grandma just been making a batch every other month forever, can't hang with us, man. We make thousands of cookies every day, all day, every day. So, but that said, you're going to know leaps and bounds beyond other people.
Right. Yeah. I think that, I love self-improvement books. And then I also love like marriage books just because, well, yeah, why wouldn't
important.
Both those things are important to me.
Yeah.
But I've read so many marriage books now that I feel like when Aubrey like brings me the problems that some people in her group are going through, it's like I can literally dissect it all and like could counsel it. Obviously, Aubrey and I still have our issues that we have to go to counseling and that we have to work through, but. It's just interesting because sometimes you bring this stuff up to these people and they're like, oh, I never thought about that way,
Yeah. Well, and truthfully too, man, I think anybody who isn't working on their relationship or working on themselves or working on their business or something, I know plenty of people who have good relationships. They don't ever fight or don't ever anything. They get along, but they don't really like each other that much. They just like each other enough and they kind of keep the peace and they just kind of, if you're passionate about something, man, you passionate. And I'm passionate about my wife and hopefully she's passionate about me, but it definitely manifests into things where we both know who's wrong or we're both wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's different when it's, because it's love. Well, always stupid.
I always said, marriage isn't about like being the right one because you got to think about it as, it's almost like a video game that if you want to beat it, then it's you stayed together for the whole thing. I love it. So if you win, then you didn't beat the video game anymore. You actually lost. So like by having no winner and just this like common goal to like make it to the end, that is the true winning of the game. Yep. And so I think that was one of those things that I had to take is that like sometimes I am right, but I need to go to Aubrey to reconcile the issue that we had in the relationship because I don't care about being right. I care about being together. Yep. And so I think that's something that. Yeah,
you definitely have to pick your battles, know when to hold them and all that. But without staying on the marriage thing too specifically, like working on yourself, working on your business, all of those things are super critical. And I'm a big Tim Ferriss fan. I don't, again, whether the 90, I might even be butchering the statistics, but yeah, anything I've ever wanted to learn about, and I know you learn shit quick too, man. I get on my computer, I kind of get in my zone for a little bit, and I've just consumed so much more than the next person usually. But it's just like, oh no, I know about that now because I wanted to know.
Yeah.
You tell me you want to know something, and then don't look it up, and then need to go to school or something. Yeah. I don't know. It's wild.
Yeah, a lot of people are handicapping themselves, and
yeah,
you have
well,
access
and I
to
mean,
so much.
I've hired a lot of people too, man. Like, it would impress the shit out of me if somebody came in and could prove to me that they knew how, whatever. I mean, most of the people we hire, it just depends. I mean, I've hired plenty of people with college degrees, plenty of people without, but most of what you do is so specific anyways, man. There's no college you could go to know what we do here, how to scale, how to do these types of things. It's
life experience stuff.
Yeah, a lot of it. And like also just the will, like being fairly bright, you and I having to figure out machinery that ain't even from this country with no real
help. Yeah.
No real help. Yeah. Like you call somebody, I call somebody, they give us different answers.
Yeah.
And both of them don't work. So Brad and I had to learn how to run a bag machine, all kinds of stuff. And Riser's been great, but even all the way down to like every time they come in here, man, there's 10 different ways we should be doing it. And we kind of been fortunate enough to figure out what works for us. So,
right.
Yeah, trial and error, but we've gotten there, and we're going to get further. So
yeah, we actually have to, speaking of trial and error, I was just thinking about all the equipment we're working on, and we actually have to like break down some of that equipment to send to the co-packers.
Yeah.
And then technically some of it is like halfway working. So we need to like get it working 100% for them. So, I get sometimes overwhelmed by just the sheer volume of the amount of things that we have to do.
Yeah. We got to blow some doors out again, take a huge piece of equipment up to Georgia. We've got the more equipment coming in from all over the world, basically to fill these machines, or what do you want to call it? Lines, if you will, like production lines. So we're building a production line with our partner in Georgia. They're going to operate the machinery. It'll be our machinery. It'll be our inventory coming in and coming out, and then we'll work on a kind of a payment thing with them. So yeah,
it's a lot of fun, but it is stressful for sure. I think that arguably everything I've done has been stressful in its own way. But again, a lot of it's just because it's unfamiliar, like we talked about before. Yep. When you're not familiar with something, it's more stressful, and then.
And there's also that you mentioned it by like the unknown, if you will, but like almost the unexperienced.
Yeah.
So like, it feels like we're stressed out all the time because we're adding more and more and more stress. But it was like, if we took out some of the future stuff, then what was stressful months ago is not now.
Right.
We're used to it. It's just easy, so it's like, oh, well, lean into it. Go fast.
Yeah, and I mean, you really do either figure it out, sink or swim.
Find out what you're made of, that's for sure.
But yeah, well, that's pretty much all we got going on.
Yeah, we got a busy
so,
day. We got to get back to it.
I know. I was thinking about like we need to.
We just don't have time the rest of the week to shoot this dang thing.
I know. We hopefully will be Thursday in Port St. Joe. They'll be picking that up. A lot of it just rides on that. I mean, our machine that we're buying, a lot of the monthly floating on that, rides on that. So it's just, I think I'll be less stressed when some of the bigger accounts are like officially in there and we're starting to ship to them. And it's like the cash flow starts going. Cause right now it's just like, we're at like this phase, and this phase means stuff going out and then cash you have is low. Yeah. And so hopefully it'll like kind of even out soon.
Yeah,
so
we'll have to take a tactical leveling out period for sure. But it ain't going to be this quarter. I know that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thanks for joining us in the oven. You're worth it. Do hard shit.